John Harmer. I'm going to use that as a pivot to you, just because I had been sharing Dak Shepard with you recently, his podcast, Experts on Experts. Let's what, background of the type of people you work with or hire versus background of the type of people you put into your true peer, trusted circle, your 3 or 4 dudes.
Yeah, the 3 or 4 dudes in a Slack channel is former colleagues in that case, and theoretically we're going to slowly expand that as Scott likes to add people to it eventually. But like if I think about, as in Salesforce, yeah. As I think about like where, like the background of people we hire, I guess we talked about this some before, like to John Gritchell's point, people who can do analytics, to Jason's point, people who can talk to other people and, get information out of them in a useful way and have empathy, which is my favorite word about product management ever. But then the people the sort of peer networking people are people that I try to use to like level up more. And so it's things like this group. There's a few not 4 dudes in the Slack channels that I'm in, like there's Product 404, which is sort of an Atlanta-based one.
Yep.
There's a lot
Atlanta's
on LinkedIn.
A great community. Atlanta's a great community.
Yep.
Absolutely. I'm really happy to have been a part of that community and looking forward to getting back there at some point. So yeah, I think it's a little different when I'm thinking about people I'm going to hire versus people I'm going to peer network with.
Yeah, makes a lot. Steve, you get a lot of people coming to you, right? As the industry, we decided that Pioneer was one that didn't age you, right? Versus Legend.
That works.
All right. So product management training Pioneer. By the way, foreshadowing a future episode, probably this year celebrates 25 years of Steve Johnson as a product management educator. It was 1996 that he joined Pragmatic Marketing. So we're going to have a silver jubilee.
Yeah, I don't know. He ruined my life in 2001, and now I do this stuff.
So Steve, a lot of people come to you, where do you, what's the background you look for the peers to help you, to be that true peer to you, not the person coming to ask you to be their mentor or coach?
Well, yeah. I mean, I do have a lot of people who are newbies or wannabes who reach out to me and say, for the 900th time, how do I get into product management? And, it's kind of like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall, right? Practice. And they're looking for, is there a certification I can get that will put me at the front of the line? And I'm like,
the course certification, I think.
There is the course open certification that you might explore. But in terms of people that I network with, I mean, the peers of my own, it's this group and the Saturday conversations that we talked about. And I really get fired up by having conversations with people who are curious and passionate, and I'll do it. I worked with a company in North Carolina and the VP said, there's a product camp coming up this weekend. I know a lot of you have kids and, lives and stuff like that. But I really want you to participate in Saturday's event. I mean, it's Steve Johnson's going to be there talking about whatever it is Steve Johnson talks about. And, he really pushed it pretty hard. And he said, in fact, I'm going to let you take Friday off to do all the stuff you would normally do on Saturday. So he and I met up on Saturday. And this is me driving down from DC to Raleigh, which is like a 5-hour drive just to go down there. Not one of his people showed up. And he was livid, and understandably so. And he said, the thing that kills me is I have these people who claim to be product managers, but seem to have no interest in product management.
Yeah.
And so, it's been hard to find people who are passionate about product management. This group of people we brought together to develop the Quartz framework and the open source templates, I mean, were people who were giving up their Saturday to do it. These things that we're doing on Friday with product growth leaders are people who are intensely curious and passionate about product management and are willing to give up their Friday lunch hour. So that's what I look for, is people who are curious and passionate.
So side note, I want to see if we can get when we start our podcast, whenever that happens. There's a lady who created the curiosity code. It's a way to sort of objectively score curiosity in people and talk about the importance of curiosity. That could be an interesting expert topic. Just want to get that in the notes. I would say, Steve, this is something you could probably say about any function, right? I remember when Michelle was working at sales at a big telecommunications company, she joked about how a lot of the inside salespeople, they didn't want to be the gophers. They never put their head up above the cubicle because they just wanted to stay. They didn't want to be picked on. They didn't want to. They felt that if they went out of their way to do something more, that they were going to get asked to do more. And a lot of people. So, I don't know if that's the case or not, but we saw the professional development that only 12% actually apply the skills to their real jobs. I wouldn't be surprised if you did a cross function, you would see that it's probably somewhere like that. I want to get to the next answer, which was Anita's. She talked about the community peer network is invaluable. The pandemic has done a fabulous job reminding that also how important this network is for my career, but also from the social aspect. It's easy to feel isolated in the pandemic. I'll put the full thing up here if you guys want to read it and get rid of me. But she goes to that social aspect. We talk about empathy in the job and helping us do that, but it's also that Saturday call and these calls, it was that when you're having a bad week, when you're down, when the social support, the friendship support is key. John, I'd love to get your take. I mean, you live even outside the country now. You're international. You're building your whole system there. Talk to me about how your peer networks, both product management and other, help you with that social aspect.
Yeah, I just I literally had this discussion with a friend in Markley the other day. We got on the phone and we talked about working from home. Certainly has its benefits, got good, but it's that accidental engagement. It's those random acts of interaction that maybe over the course of a normal workday when we're in an office, we don't think about. But I am hungry for the random idea someone. I mean, maybe when I'm in an office, I don't want you to be giving me a lot of feature ideas. Mm-hmm. But now that I haven't had that, or I haven't had did you see this movie? And and I don't know the right word, but there's like this emptiness that random socialization in a building gave us. And so you got to take the effort, right? I mean, I'm in Costa Rica, right? I'm not getting on planes and seeing people now. I mean, when I lived in Atlanta, you could go to a Technology Association of Georgia event, right? You could do something like that. It was a great scene. But in Costa Rica, it's now my burden to stay connected. And I think that's the part that we all have to embrace, whether you're working from home or doing something else. It's not anyone else's fault. Mm-hmm. You're where you are. And so what effort are you going to put forward to close that gap? Right. And so that's what I've tried to take that burden on myself by doing catch-up 15-minute discussions and just making sure people are alive. I actually send messages on LinkedIn, still alive, ? And it's sort of funny. It's sort of fearful, right? What the answer is. But the reality is, let's just ping each other. Let's know that we're here together doing something.
That's a great observation. And John, he pings me on Messenger every once in a while. Which is good for me. I
do ask you if you're alive.
You do. You do. I appreciate that. And
John, what's the answer to that? We're still holding out.
Sometimes he's like, I'm a robot on home.
What I was going to say is that there are some times that if I read a really good article, say on Peter Drucker, and that's a joke for Steve because somebody's giving us shit for me always posting Peter Drucker stuff, but I love the guy. If I read a really interesting article, Roger Martin, I just read some great stuff. I'm sharing some of that. I will read it. I will share it on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'll put some commentary on it. But there are times I want to have a conversation about a concept or idea that's new. And Michelle's not interested, she was like, I don't care about, growth strategy and Ansat's matrix. And, it's a place where I know, Steve, how can you imagine that somebody would
growth matrix?
Come on, let's do a really cool pivot table, Emily. I got an awesome pivot table in my